do you want?
For people to see you as I do.
Is this really happening?
Wanda. And they lived happily ever after. Happily ever after. Welcome home.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we'll be breaking down WandaVision Season 1 Episode 3, now in colour. And if you couldn't tell by the title of the episode, WandaVision is now in colour, moving on from the black and white era of the 50s and 60s, now in the 70s. Now, before we do break down the episode and go into all the Easter eggs in this episode, please do remember that there will be spoilers in this video for episode 3 of WandaVision, as well as the previous 2 episodes, so please do keep that in mind before going ahead and watching this video. So, of course, we start with a brand new intro, this time for the 70s sort of theme of the era that they are in right now, as we see Wanda and Vision preparing for their baby, as they go baby shopping, collecting all they need. And we mostly just see Wanda and Vision preparing their baby's room, as well as breathing techniques and things like that we'll see later in the episode. But the power goes out and Wanda and Vision start to discuss how weird the Westview world that they're in is, and how the dinner with Mr. and Mrs. Hart in the first episode and the magic show in the second episode didn't feel quite right, and something was definitely up. And Wanda and Vision agree, but Wanda doesn't want to think about how weird the reality they are in is. So she rewinds time again, and we end up with a different scenario this time, like we did in the second episode with the beekeeper coming out of the sewers. And Wanda and Vision continue without mentioning the weirdness of Westview again until right at the end of the episode. Now, this week during the Hydra advert, this time we saw a Hydra soap, which was actually a reference to the Season 4 episode in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when Coulson was talking about how Hydra in the framework would use the soap to insert mind control into the population, and how he made his own soap. So this week, another big tie-in to a different Marvel show. Last week we had Jessica Jones, and now this week, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The climax of the episode involves Wanda and Monica having this interaction whilst Wanda was trying to hide the fact that she was pregnant, whilst also trying to cater for Monica while she was in their home. And we get a better look at Monica's necklace, and we do see that she is in fact wearing a necklace with the sword symbol on it, and of course Wanda recognises it from the helicopter she found in the previous episode. During this time, Vision has run off to try and get the doctor because Wanda is about to enter labour, and we see his speed powers, which are very similar to Quicksilver's. Then of course we see Wanda give birth to her twins, which we can assume are Wiccan and Speed from the comics. And after Vision escorts the Doctor out of the house, he keeps emphasising how he probably won't go on holiday in the end, which is odd considering he was planning it for a while, as well as the fact that he's probably trapped in there by whoever's trapping Wanda and Vision, and he doesn't really have the option to leave the Westview. Once the Doctor leaves, we see Vision turn his head and we see Agnes and Herb, their next door neighbours, conspiring and whispering over the wall, and Vision looks curious and goes to investigate, and it looks like Herb is about to tell them what's up, and then Agnes of course cuts him off before he can say anything, and they end up moving on like nothing happened again, which seems to be a common theme throughout the first 3 episodes in particular. Then whilst Monica and Wanda are chatting inside, Monica suddenly remembers how Wanda starts talking about her twin Pietro, of course Quicksilver we saw in Age of Ultron, who was obviously killed by Ultron himself. And this somehow triggers a reaction in Monica to remember that Quicksilver was killed by Ultron, which is odd considering we're in a world where it's set in the 1970s and the events of Age of Ultron wouldn't have happened for another 40 years or so. And when Monica remembers Pietro's death, this triggers Wanda to kick Monica out of Westview essentially. As we see at the end of the episode, she's flying out of the abandoned Westview town in the real world, where S.W.O.R.D. is set up all around Westview, as it seems like they're either trapping Wanda in that reality of Westview, or they're trying to get her out, and they're most likely trying to get her out, as that is probably why Monica was in the Westview reality, to try and get her out and trying to get her to remember what is actually going on in the real world. So that is the rundown essentially of the episode. Nothing too major, however this is probably the most interesting episode that gave us the most information to what is actually going on. We saw that Monica was of course infiltrating the Westview reality that Wanda and Vision are trapped in, trying to get them out, but her mission failed as Wanda discovered she was trying to get her out of that dream reality that she is in, so she ends up being booted out of that reality and ends up back where she started with S.W.O.R.D. And of course we get the first mention of Quicksilver, what feels like the first time since 2015, since Age of Ultron, which does give me hope that we'll hopefully see Quicksilver at some point in the show, whether that's in a flashback or in, you never know, in some sort of resurrection. So that is my breakdown of WandaVision episode 3. Please like and subscribe for more Marvel breakdowns in the future, and stay tuned for episode 4 breakdown next week, where it'll probably be set in the 1980s, as we'll see Wanda and Vision become parents and raise Wiccan and Speed. Again, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.
I just want getting ghosts. Me and my haters, we at ACS, you know we from coast. We run it up, yeah we get the go. They wanna know everything that we do. Got their bitches involved, living the life that they don't. We want the racist system, I'm like, give me the money now. All of my haters, they double down. These pussies, they really